Hello and welcome to the hood construction of the Ollie bomber jacket sew along from Sew Little Seam. I am Trissa and I am your host. So for the hood construction, if you haven't gotten your hood yet, there is a free hood add-on for the Ollie bomber jacket for both women's and kids. The kids version does not have a kangaroo pocket, but the women's version does. However, if you remember in my previous video, you can use a kangaroo pocket from the Constance sweater, or you can use any other kangaroo pocket that you have for the kids version. But for the hood construction, the kids version has the option of the three panel hood, or the hood with the center panel. And then the women's version has this hood with a center panel and the hood without. So I'm going to be starting off by showing you the kids version. So we have our two side panels and our middle. So I like to start off so if here's my hood, this is the top. I like to start pinning at the top and going all the way around. That way, in case there's any excess fabric on my centerpiece, I can easily pin both of them and then trim it off afterwards. So I cheated and I sewed my lining already, but you can see here that there is some excess from my center panel. That's fine, you can just cut it off, which is why I like to start pinning and sewing both of them at the top and sewing both of them the same direction. That way, if there's any fabric walking, where your fabric moves while you sew, it should be about the same. That way you can just cut it off. And so we'll go ahead and pin the center panel to your hood, and then we'll come back. Okay, now my hood is all pinned. You can see here that I do have a little bit of excess fabric on the end. That's totally okay, we'll just trim it off later. But just to make sure you start sewing from the top going down on both sides. That way, if your fabric walks at all as you're sewing, it should hopefully all be walking towards the excess, and then we'll just trim that off after. So go ahead and sew. Oh, and you're going to be doing that to your lining also. I already did it because I changed my thread color. But go ahead and do that to your main and your lining. If you're not doing a lining, then obviously just do your main, and then we'll come back. So now you should have your main sewn and your lining sewn, and now we're gonna press the seam away from the center panel and then top stitch on the outside 1/8 of an inch all the way down on both the sides of the main. However, keep in mind that if you want your lining to be shown on the front, then your lining should be the bigger piece and your main should be the smaller piece when you cut it out. But if not, your main will wrap around into sides of the lining. But anyway, so let's go ahead and top stitch this bad boy, and go from there. Oh, by the way, if you are making a reversible, you can top stitch both of them for a nice clean finish, but it's not required. Yeah, so I'll do that and come back. Look how beautiful that hood looks. Look at my nice top stitching, if you can see it. Okay, so before we do the rest of it, we are going to go over this. This is pretty easy, except since we just have two pieces, we are just sewing them together. Don't have to worry about anything not matching up because they should match up just fine. So now if you're doing the regular two-piece hood in the women's version, go ahead and sew the front or the two pieces together and the two pieces to your lining, and then we will go ahead and attach them together. Okay, so now we should have our two hood panels sewn, line and main, and then we should have our 3-panel hood sewn, lining and main, just main if you are not doing the online, if you're doing an online version. So the next step is the same for either one of these options. It doesn't matter. So we're going to start off by getting your iron. We're going to press the this side seam 3/8 of an inch in, and press that real good. And then we're going to press it an inch in. If you are not lining it, you can go ahead and top stitch close to that inside edge. Keep in mind that if you are adding grommets or eyelets, to make sure to note where on the pattern piece you should be adding the interfacing for that. I do not like to do drawstrings, so I'm skipping that. But the pattern piece does let you know where to iron the interfacing on. So yes, but anyway, so we're going to start off by doing 3/8 of an inch and then an inch. If your fabric is not ironed very well, you can use Wonder tape, 1/4 of an inch Wonder tape, to help tack that down. I believe it washes out as soon as you wash it. It'll wash out, but that'll definitely help hold it in place, because this fabric does not iron, it does not press well, so I may use that to help hold it in place. So once we do that, we'll top stitch around the edge if you are not lining it, but if we are lining it, well, I'm going to stick this bad boy inside, and we will come back after it's all nice and pressed. Okay, like I said earlier, since this fabric sucks at ironing, I'm just going to go ahead and use my washi tape. I found it, or my Wonder tape. Yeah, here it is. So just going to go ahead and put that on. Just stick it on once and then peel off the cover. This stuff also works really well if you want to do stripe matching, by the way. Okay, see, now we have that all ironed, and then we'll go ahead and do it an inch in, even though I'm not going to washi tape it. I'm just going to, I'm not going to actually iron it because this doesn't iron, but I'm just going to go ahead and slip my fabric in here. So essentially, that one, once we fold it over to that 1 inch, the hood lining should basically butt up to that ironed line. Now, if I wanted to, this could be my lining, and then when I attach the hood on, it would look like this. That way the lining is showing on the outside, instead of the, yeah, so you can either have it like this with the lining on the outs, poking on the outside, or have it like this with your main coming on the inside. So we'll, you see that? See? Inch in. So go ahead and top stitch close to the edge of this line, and then again, if you did your grommets, your or eyelets, your drawstring would feed in through here. But I again am skipping that, so I'm just going to go ahead and top stitch this. And then we're also going to do the same thing to our other hood, the exact same way. So I'm going to go ahead and sew that, and then I'll come back. Hood is done. Look how beautiful that looks. Isn't it nice? Nice on my jacket. So now we'll basically do the exact same thing for the 3-panel hood. Again, this fabric does not iron well, so I am gonna skip it, and I'm just gonna use my washi tape, or my Wonder Tape. I don't know why I keep calling it washi tape. It is Wonder Tape, because it is wonderful. So I'm just going to put it all along the edge of my fabric. Ignore my dog. She's a yapper. And when you're putting in your washi tape, just make sure you don't stretch your fabric or pull it or anything, or else it'll get a little wonky. So you want your fabric to be nice and flat when you add your Wonder Tape. See, I just put it to the edge, all the way around. I'm just going to peel it off. If I can peel it off. Oh, there we go. And then we're just going to fold it over 3/8 of an inch, pretending like we're ironing it. Ta-da! So again, now I'm just going to take my lining and match it up inside of here. And I did not trim my panels yet, but I will do that eventually. And I'll go ahead and top stitch that, and then come back. Now we should have our 3-panel hood lined nice and beautiful, and then we have our other one all nice and beautiful. Again, if you are not lining it, you basically do the exact same thing, except you don't stick your lining inside, obviously. You'll just do the 3/8, 1 inch, and then just top stitch along this edge. And that is all you do for hood construction. Pretty easy. Again, with this panel, you can go ahead and now trim it so it all matches nice and beautifully we have a nice clean edge going all the way around. And then that's it for today. Now we'll just get ready for tomorrow's video. We will be sewing our zippers on, also attaching our hoods and our collars. But yes, so tomorrow will be a good day. If you have any questions, again, post it on the blog, on the Sew Little Seam daily sew along post, or you can go ahead and post it in this video. It's up to you. But yeah, I will see you tomorrow.